Mitra and Bandhu, welcome to South Asia Maps Education Channel. This is your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy. And if you are not aware, this is my YouTube channel, and I have posted more than 280 meticulously made presentations on varied, diverse topics, and you can go and look at them. And that is present at the site, YouTube site, South Asia Maps J. Reddy, and that is about the main YouTube channel. And today, a part 68 series of human ecology, human predicament, essentially works of Dr. Catton's Overshoot, Bottleneck. And I'll be discussing about very intuitively in the form of icons, as it is the main objective of South Asia Maps Iconographic representation, so that this presentation will give you deeper insights of carrying capacity concept. That is a very, very important concept. If you understand that, you can understand what is really happening beneath the contemporary social, political, military events on the planet Earth. I abbreviated it simply CCP, carrying capacity. You remember these three icons. Here this is like a small village in South India, Ceded districts of Rayalaseema, a vestige, a reminder of the former magnificent Vijayanagara Empire, of the famous Talikota battle 1565. Average village in Rayalaseema will be little more than 12 square kilometers, 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers. Gangetic plains in North India, the villages are much smaller. And let's say this particular village, 12 square kilometers, can support 4 people. This is arbitrary, not exactly 4 units to make this simple for you. 4 units of people, 2 units of people, 7 units of people in the same village. This is the indefinitely supportable population load of a habitat. This is the habitat. A village or a district, a political division, a province, country, even the continent, it can be entire planet Earth. Just a habitat. That means CCP is nothing but the human population that should be supportable indefinitely. That is critical. Indefinitely means forever. Carrying capacity, 4 units here. When, let's say, at one stage that particular village has only 2 units of people, that means that particular village has a carrying capacity surplus. That's what it is. Carrying capacity surplus. Let's say in that village the fertilizers were introduced, the pesticides, the herbicides and weedicides and the combiners, harvesters, the tractors and the mechanisms to drill the borewells and exploitation of the fossil aquifer resources. Now it produces a lot of food, and it has oil discoveries in this village, coal discoveries. You can put more number of people, also very high standard of living. Every family having 3 to 4 cars and so on. That means when you go and visit the village, you will see instead of 4 units, maybe 7, 8, even 10, 20 units of the people. Oh, you may think this can be supported, but actually that is the carrying capacity deficits. So these points we look at carrying capacity insights, CCP, CCCP surplus, deficits. What is real CCP? What is phantom CCP? You can understand after this presentation. Carrying capacity, indefinitely supportable ecological load. This is the habitat. 4 units is the indefinitely supportable ecological load. Again, remember, carrying capacity depends upon the living standards or human development indices, what the popularly now social, political, economic circles, the word is used. That means if the people live with less standard of living, you can support more. If there is a higher standard of living, you can support less people. That you should keep in mind. That is little flexible, and there is no perfect yardstick for that. So CCP is indefinitely supportable ecological load. In this Ceded district, we say 4 units. In the planet Earth, in 1818, there was 1 billion people, that is 1,000 million people. Immediately after the end of the World War 1919, there were 2 billion people. Of course, just I twisted these years and population little bit so that you can remember. 1818, 1 billion, 1919, 2 billion. That is perhaps most ecologists think for humans. That means not Homo Colossus, Homo sapiens, that is the carrying capacity of the planet Earth. This the carrying capacity surplus means the habitat at this stage can support more people indefinitely. Here we assumed here 4 units because there is only 2 units here. It can support 3 units, 4 units indefinitely. That means we can say that particular village, a district, a state, province, a country, continent has a more carrying capacity surplus. Let's say the United States at the time of assassination of Lincoln, popular president at that time, 1865 or so, was having 35 million people still living modestly. So that means at that time America has CCP surplus. That means there is a carrying capacity surplus present on that land. Before industrialization started by 1800, steam engine, 1880, 1 billion people lived. Still there was a carrying capacity surplus on the planet Earth. Even at World War I, still there was a carrying capacity surplus in many parts of the world as well as the United States. Carrying capacity deficits means the land no more support that humongous human population. In this ceded Rayalaseema district of Andhra Pradesh of Deccan, South India, I have arbitrarily put 7 units, not people, or so. Now, there are round about 8 billion people on the planet Earth today. 8 billion people, I put 8 Homo Colossus here. That means the planet Earth is running on carrying capacity deficits. That what? Entire planet Earth, almost every country in the planet Earth with humongous population, it cannot, the territory habitats cannot support. So it is running on carrying capacity deficits. But still there are people there, and how can we say it's a deficit? Remember, carrying capacity by definition means the population has to be supported indefinitely. As population support means not simply feeding the people, providing the food, their transportation, their education infrastructure, all those things, high standards of living, consuming automobiles and electric cars or air conditioners, coolers, and all, everything comes. That is you have to support those people with that particular standard economic incentives. That's what missing. That means there is no real carrying capacities on the planet Earth. That's why we are running in carrying capacity deficit. Remember the finite planet here, the finite planet, that is only 12,000 kilometers. From Singapore, if you poke the hole on the other side, you may end up in Ecuador, Quito, that is around about 12,700 kilometers. You can get the circumference, you can get the surface area, that is 510 million square kilometers, among which 360 is water, 150 is the landmass. And minerals, metals, fossil fuels, everything, arable land is limited. So that means these societies now are running on phantom carrying capacity, that means impermanent, that is temporary. Once the fossil fuels disappear on the planet Earth, that produces the most of the food, and that give the MIC, military industrial complex, socio-economical political niches. When they collapse, that means that phantom carrying capacity will end. That's what it means. Phantom carrying capacity, real carrying capacity, surplus is present in this habitat. This habitat is running on carrying capacity deficits. It is running more ecological load, more human beings, that is gigantic human beings, Homo Colossus, than it can afford to run them indefinitely. Remember, by 1500 navigations by Columbus and all those people, this is the old world, Eurasia, Europe, Africa, Asia, like a big continent. Before Suez Canal was dug around about 1885 or so. There are around about 500 million people here. That's not a very critical estimation. There are around about 50 million people in the New World, or so 500 million people. At that time, there was a carrying capacity surplus in the entire planet. Now there are 8 billion people, 8,000 million people. We are running carrying capacity deficits. That's what it means. So again, the carrying capacity, I said this is the land around about 3.3 kilometers, 10 square kilometers. It's a forested land, arbitrarily can support 10 people, hunters and gatherers. Same land, if you convert it into agricultural land, settled agriculture, can support 500 people. If you start doing the drilling down of water aquifers, the fossil fuels, coal and oil and so on, make into fertilizers, phosphate rocks, it can even support, instead of 500, 5,000 people. Industrial agriculture, that's all carrying capacity, but 5,000 is phantom carrying capacity. This 500 people is a carrying capacity that it can support forever, because it is an agricultural traditional. Whereas if you don't practice, it can support only 10 people or so, hunters and gatherers, gathering the berries, fruits, and hunting the animals and living a simple lifestyle. That is the carrying capacity we talked about. So I hope this made the things very clear for you. The concept of carrying capacity is very important. When the social workers or political leaders promising you so many things, and for this uncontrolled population explosion planet Earth, you have to keep in mind that is not going to happen. That's why that Dr. Catton's work plays a very important role. Overshoot book is considered to be very important work, and his next book, Bottleneck, also. That's what we talked about today in this part 68, carrying capacity, deeper insights we discussed about. Previously talked about redundancy, anxiety, morbid fear due to excess population, and redundancy, oneself included in the surplus population. And that circular energy, linear energy we talked about before, and we talked about the various provinces of Bharat contributing to the almost 11 or 12 million people every year is pumped by India into the planet Earth. How the family planning will help overall in the planet Earth, we discussed in the previous presentations. We discussed about 80 million people are pumped to the planet Earth every year. What is each country contributing? India 10 million, and China 5 million, Nigeria 5 million, Pakistan almost 4.5, and so on. And the elephant of the planet with 8 billion people. Elephant in the room means very serious issue that generally not discussed or ignored due to some reasons. We talked about that. Of course, in the main 50 presentations earlier, mostly concepts come from the Overshoot book, carrying capacity, taking over, drawing down, New World and excuse me, the old world and ecological overshoot, bloom and crash, and diachronic competition stealing from the future generation. The normal cornucopian paradigm, that is the very happy case scenario, compared to ecological paradigm of Dr. Catton. We compared both two, and we compared how the modern industrial niches are nothing but hunters and gatherers. Traditional hunters and gatherers, industrial hunters and gatherers. Population pressure, that is not the density, this is the mutual interference among the humans in the industrial society. We looked at with mice and humans, the ecological exuberance, emotional exuberance, detritus ecosystems, ecological ecarages, fossil ecarage, fuel ecarage, and trade ecarage, and all those very important concepts that lie in modern trade and commerce and globalization and all those issues, the carrying capacity and phantom carrying capacity, ecological niches, social niches, political niches, economic niches. All those things I discussed before, and you can go and look at them leisurely at my YouTube channel playlist called Human Ecology. Mitram and Bandhuvam, that's what I wanted to talk today. And if you liked these presentations and think they are giving you newer perspective in understanding the society and culture, I have put a lot of effort in bringing to you the great work Dr. Catton has done. It will be very helpful, and if you subscribe the channel and also bring the information to the notice of your friends and put comments also, so that I can look at them and modulate the presentations for your requirements. At South Asia Maps, I have varied interest, and I posted the topics and varied Indology series, and at least most of them will definitely fit into your requirements, expectations, and whatever aptitude interest you have. See you later. Dr. J. Reddy, South Asia Maps.